If you're going to see anything this weekend, see Civil War. A24 has done it yet again. I feel like this is an early contender for Best Picture. And it's really early, but they were able to sustain Everything Everywhere All at Once for the entire year a couple years ago when it won Best Picture. This film is so good. I saw this in Dolby Cinema. It was the sound was explosive, the visuals were stunning. This is well captured and well written, well performed, the best of 2024 so far. And I feel like this is an early contender for Best Picture and for Best Leading Actress for Kirsten Dunst. She is so good in this film as a weathered war correspondent who has to trek over 500 miles to DC because she wants to get one of the final interviews of the POTUS, who has, without saying so much, he's on his third term. And of course, in the United States, presidents are only allowed 2 terms. He is on his 3rd term, which alludes that he has stolen a presidency and has deputized his followers to take over the country. California, a blue state in the non-dystopian way, a blue state, and Texas, a red state, have become Western forces who have taken over the entire country and kill at a whim. Just think The Purge. The first one mostly, my favorite, starring Ethan Hawke. The Purge, but all year, not just one day. And she's a war correspondent who takes this maladroit, aspiring photojournalist under her wing, really, and teaches her everything she knows, all but reluctantly at first, but eventually caves and teaches her everything she knows so that she can become better, because she does have an eye and hunger for journalism. And when I tell you, everyone pulls their weight. I love the story, the world building, the sound design is so good. It is almost like part of the plot. It had this level of tension built within the story that felt like jump scares in many ways. Like sometimes the gunshots and the reverberation of bullets dropping, like it really did have this echoing, very intensified effect with the sound design that I think works tremendously, especially in a story like this. It was like jump scares, really. It caught you off guard. And then to relieve you from a lot of the tension of what was going on in this dystopian world and story, there would be these really adjunct types of songs scored within the movie to give some ease because tensions are so high. This is such a political thesis, really, of what could be if we let what we're dealing with get out of control without being preachy and without being too political. It doesn't tell you, or it doesn't force feed you who's MAGA, who's liberal, who's conservative. It doesn't do that at all. It stays very apolitical. It doesn't choose a side. It just lets your imagination run with what could be any year now if we don't get control of our liberties. I love this movie. I will be seeing it at least one more time this weekend. I saw it in Dolby. It's so good. And when I tell you that JoJo T. Gibbs and Jesse Plemons, they are in this film so little, but they stole every moment that they were on screen. JoJo has one of the final scenes when they capture the president, and she takes this, like, she really does deliver. And Jesse Plemons too. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. Jesse Plemons was so terrifying because his role seems so realistic. Again, if we don't get control of all of this that's happening, we could literally be there. Like, it's just that realistic. There was so much realism built in such a dystopian story. If we don't get a grasp on what we're dealing with, how close we are to something like this actually manifesting. That said, this movie is so good. I think that Kirsten Dunst is in for an Oscar nomination. She is so good. She's always good, but she is so good in this film. I think Cailee Spaeny was good. Like, everyone pulled their weight. This is so good. Nick Offerman, he plays the president in this film. The last few moments of him on screen was so intense. I mean, I'm from DC. You do not have to be from DC to experience the emotional intensity of the final hour and the final moments when insurgents take over the White House for good reason, take over the White House and take over the presidency. And I just felt a type of way because this office is so revered, the office of the presidency, and to see that something like this could happen to this office, it just made me really emotional. I love this film. This is a recommendation from me. If you're looking, like I said, if you like The Purge, you're going to love this film. This takes The Purge up a notch. A24 Civil War is currently in theaters this weekend. See it on the biggest screen you can find.